Welcome to AudioSwim Podcast, home of the music hustle. And today, all the way from the USA, you know what I mean?
That's
Former
right.
resident of Dubai, though, by the way. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. I used to
We
live
got
out
my
here.
man Erie Ave in the building, man. What's going on with you, bro?
Man, what's up, brother?
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man.
Good?
Thank you for having me.
How you enjoying this time in Dubai, bro?
This time in Dubai is amazing, monumental. Like, honestly, like, I almost feel like a situation when you knew a girl from back in the days and you was in love with her and you didn't see her for 20 years, and the moment you saw her again, you fell right in love with her. That's what Dubai feels like for me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, see,
Second homecoming.
Second homecoming, right? It's that little safety, like, I feel at home, I feel at peace, you know what I'm saying? I want to, would you ever move with her again?
I think I would definitely have real estate here, but I wouldn't want to do permanently. I think, I'm in a space and place where traveling is super important, just especially with all the information and knowledge you acquire and the people that you meet. I don't want to place myself in a situation where I can feel stagnant, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I definitely do see myself living here on and off.
Right.
Yeah,
There's a lot of artists that's coming here, man, that does that on and off thing. They do their shows. And what's crazy, man, you used to be a resident here, but what brought you back this time is you got like a Middle Eastern tour that's happening right now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not even
tour.
It's like a one of those things I told y'all it was gonna happen.
Not
you know
even.
what I'm saying? Not even?
Not
all
even.
right.
I would say for me it's actually very humbling. Like on some, can I cuss on the stage?
We could post production. Don't worry about
but
it.
Like on some real stuff, like I would say, like last night I had tears of joy.
Yeah.
I sat on this balcony of the Airbnb I was at, and I was just looking at the beautiful view, and I was just thinking about everything that when I was living in Dubai about 20 years ago, trying to make things happen, you making music and stuff like that. Me and Perfect Storm, my boy Aaron and whatnot, Apollo. Shout out to my dog Timothy, and Bugs. But it was so difficult. Like we couldn't be getting inside of a club. You know what I mean? And it had so many rules and restrictions. But now to be in a space or place where I'm being booked to be here and being booked multiple times, to be here, it's just like, it's so humbling, you know what I mean? But it just goes to show hard work and consistency, and most importantly, never quitting will get you wherever you need to be.
Nah, 100%, man. That's great advice, bro. I think, like, people say it all the time, but you're a true testament of it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Thank you.
These are things that you hear in all of the motivational books, if you listen to podcasts or whatever, but you are truly a testament of it. And you got some, but also with that said, you also got to be dope, bro.
You got to be fire.
You have to study your craft and make sure your craft is fire. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. You got to have.
And you got some heat, bro.
I appreciate that.
What I mean?
Nah, for real. We're working hard.
Yeah, no, I see, bro. Like, you definitely, like, you on it. You know what I'm saying? You're on your job. Your stage presence is crazy. Can you tell a little bit about stage presence, bro, and why that's important? Because I see a lot of artists, they come here, they just on stage, they rapping, they looking around the crowd, but they don't got the energy that you got, bro. Like,
I would say stage presence is even for me, in the sense of not being on stage but watching a show, stage presence is one of the most important things.
Right.
And I would say why, because energy is full circle, right? It reciprocates. So you can't expect for a crowd or audience to be a certain type of way or to be hyped for you or with you if you're just over there like, yo, my name is yo. They're going to be looking at you too like, uh-huh. You know what I mean? So I think
that might be the time for them to go get a drink or something.
Exactly.
Like
so I think energies, it's frequencies, waves. So like what you want to get, you got to put it out.
Right.
And one of my most important thing about performing, or stage presence, like me personally, like it depends on the situation. If it's like a nightclub, but it's not like a actual concert venue,
right?
I'll probably perform over an MP3, but I hate doing that.
Right.
I just need the show track and let my lyrics do the, you know what I mean? My real vocals. And I think that's where it showcased real actual talent, when, you're actually performing the record rather than just rapping over it.
Right.
But stage presence is key. You gotta have that.
And how is it important to be ready for things that you can't even expect? Because even at your show, bro, it's like, you had people pop up on the stage that was like,
yeah, you're right. I think when it comes,
but you handled it like it was like, damn,
it was almost like it was part of a show, bro. It was
Yeah.
almost like it was rehearsed like that. But I think that just goes to having that energy and that knowledge, knowing how to work a stage, and also engaging with the crowd, with the audience, paying attention to them. So I seen that guy while I was performing. You know what I mean? The guy that was dancing, and he was doing his thing like that. I'm just like, okay, well, come on. You know what I mean? And it was crazy as the way that happened. When I look back at the footage and stuff like that, I'm just like, it almost kind of looked like that was planned. But it really wasn't. You know what I mean? But definitely shout outs to Aura Club, you know, for bringing me out and stuff like that. It was an amazing show, you know, so I'm just so thankful about that.
Nah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up, bro. So when you started doing music, bro, like, did you ever think you'll get to the level where you're doing shows all around the world, or was it something that you did as a hobby, or what was your journey into music?
So I'm gonna tell you some real stuff, okay? When I first started doing music, or before I even started doing music, I always had a love for music, right? My father was a musician. Long story short, after my brother was killed in the States, you know, and after it's all good. After the loss of my brother, that's me and my whole family moved to Dubai.
Okay.
So for that whole first year of me living in Dubai, I was here for 5 years in total. My first whole year, I was depressed, of course. I sat in the bedroom and never left that bedroom unless I had a shower or eat or whatever, right? But the most important thing while I was there was I actually dreamt. Like, I was dreaming, like daydreaming, like, and I dreamed about everything that I wanted to do, like literally visualize, like, I'm going to be doing shows, I'm going to be traveling, everything, like every little thing that I dreamed of in that room. When I look back at me being in Dubai today, it's literally everything that I envisioned. Like, I never thought it would take 15, 20 years, though. I might have probably wanted it in 1 or 2 years. But because of my passion and love for music, I never really looked at it like this is it. I mean, it's always been more than a hobby for me, though, right? Because I'm like really invested into it. And at one point, it was kind of like fun and games, just enjoying it. But it was just like, well, I'm putting money into this. Right. This is a business. I got to take it seriously. Right. But most importantly, if you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life. You know what I mean? And that's what it is.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Like, and that's crazy. You doing all this before the deal, bro.
Before the deal.
You know what I'm saying? Which is part of your brand, man. And you're doing a great job on branding, bro.
Thank you.
Honestly, that before the deal, it touched my heart because I'm like, bro, I was like, man, people only understood what it takes to make it in music before they get a deal, and you kind of like branded that, you know what I'm saying, and showing that
because it's hard,
right?
You know, and I think with social media today, a lot of artists are like ashamed of being their true self, being authentic. Right. They feel as though they have to put on a mask every time they come out, maybe even talk different, walk a little different and stuff like that. But you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't be ashamed of anything before the deal or even after the deal. Word. And that's why like I came up with that concept. It was a way of me staying motivated because I went through that situation too, feeling like, damn, like look at this guy, he's doing this or this and that. But that's almost kind of like pocket watching. You know, if you're gonna pay attention to people, pay attention and learn from them and be motivated by them rather than looking at them like, wow, I'm not doing that. Right. You know, I believe in the words of Tone Trump, winners respect winners. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Straight up. And like all the people that's really making real money, they're not beefing with each other. Right. Even if it might look like they're on the outside looking in, but everybody coming together and actually making money together. It's everybody that's not really making the money yet or think you have to have these controversies or whatever that's really in the mix about that. But most of the real stuff is not like that.
Yeah, for real, man. No, facts, bro. It's like you got to pay attention to what's, keep your main thing, right? You can't worry about what everybody else is doing.
Stay in your own lane.
Yeah. Yep. So now, coming back to the point of like branding, bro, how important is it for an independent artist to make sure that they brand themselves properly in the right way?
I think branding is extremely important and it being done the right way. Now, I would say you could always rebrand yourself as well too. You know what I mean?
True.
Which almost every corporation has done, even from logos. If you look at Apple's logo, when it was Macintosh at first, it changed. And honestly, a lot of them kind of got simple. It was a little more complex, and they simplified it. But branding is important because it's your identity. It's your DNA. It's like, for an example, when you think of I'm gonna say Larry June. You think of orange juice.
You
think of oranges.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He's doing a great job with his branding as well.
He's doing a great job with his branding. You know, when you think of certain artists, like when you think of Nipsey, you know it was TMC. You know the flag to a point. People use it, the emojis. He represented the marathon continues. So, and I think that is why branding is so important. It's a way for people that might not even know you or know your name or know your face, but to be able to identify who you is. It's almost kind of like face recognition.
Right. Man, you know what's crazy though? As you were stating off those names, man, I'm realizing that a lot of these guys is from like the West Coast, right? Like Larry June.
That's true.
Larry
Russell, Nip.
Like even E40 back in the day, like E40 and Too Short and all of that. Like all of these guys on the West Coast, what do you think separates, like, because I'm not even going to say as a mindset of the artist, because the artist had a mindset, but the mindset of the community that's supposed to support the artist. Like, how does it differ when you just cut from the East and the West? What's your thoughts on that? Like, or is it? Because I might be wrong.
Like what, in the sense of an artist from the East?
Like, I feel like the West Coast artists get way more support. Like, so the community, the West Coast artists love West Coast artists and they'll support. They don't hate on each other. Like, the artists might hate on each other, but the community going to support the musician. And in Philly, New York, DC, Virginia is like...
It's cutthroat.
Cutthroat is
like crabs in a bucket almost. Yeah. You know,
why do you think that is, man? Or is it like that for you? Maybe you have a different outlook.
I do honestly think somewhat of it is like that. I think things are changing slightly to a point that people are recognizing like we're not getting anywhere with this mentality.
Right.
But I think a lot of that also had to do how back in the days, you know, New York being kind of like the mecca of hip hop and all the record labels and everything was there at one point, and it wasn't really anywhere else.
True.
People kind of took advantage of they took it for granted.
Right.
You know what I mean? And took it for granted because you could just walk to a record label, hand a CD, Hot 97, whatever it is, and versus people down south, or as we were saying in the West Coast,
down south was doing
they had to do it out of the trunk, literally. Not saying folks in New York didn't do it, but when you think about like even when you talk about down south, like Slim Thug, he sold 1 million records out of his trunk.
Facts.
Yep. 1 million records out of the back of his car.
Yep.
You know, because he didn't have the record labels that was right there and there. So I think not only does it have to do with the record label, but just also the mentality of the people in that environment. You know, like when you go down south, the hospitality is completely
different.
Yeah.
And even the way that, like, I look at how they embrace their own artists versus other artists, right? Like, an artist from the East Coast can pretty much go anywhere around the world, right? An artist from the West, it's hard to be like an artist from the West Coast and go to Philly outside of like a select few that we probably already named,
true.
Right?
That is true.
It's like, you know, like we're not like a YG now because they, you know, he's mainstream, but like before YG was mainstream, he wouldn't be accepted in Philly because the style just don't fit, you know what I mean?
People don't, you know, we love YG, but...
Yeah, we love him now, you know what I mean?
The young kids or the people, you know, the people that's going to be buying the tickets, that's not the style of music they're listening to.
Right.
Yeah, so you're right, you know, and today... Because I don't want to say like he's commercial, but the brand is commercialized,
right?
Which is a good
thing. Signed
to
a label and he's making money
Coachella,
for a label.
You know, stuff like that.
Commercial,
so which is a great thing because I think
no shade in that.
I think the word commercial gets tossed around in a manner where people feel like it's a bad thing, like, oh, you thinking I sold out or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's something that we got to stop in our community too, bro. Because I think like that be holding us back, bro. It's like your purpose of getting signed to a record label is to sell out. You want to sell out your shows. You want to sell out of the store. You want to sell, like, if you don't want to sell out, why are you doing music? You know what I'm saying? Not sell your soul.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Let's get that part right. We're not
selling the soul. We trying to say sell out. You know what I'm saying? From a financial standpoint, like you want to win. Otherwise, you good enough just to kind of do your own thing in your own community. You know what I'm saying? This game ain't for you on a massive level if you don't think about selling out. Now, I'm not saying sell your soul, guys. You know what I'm saying? So
don't do that.
Yeah. And man, just going back to the whole sell your soul, man. I had a conversation.
The industry's crazy.
Yeah, man. I had a conversation with somebody, and they were saying like, you know, how do you sell your soul? They asked me, how do you sell your soul?
What question is that?
I took a picture with what's my the girl. She's married to Rick Owens. She's married to Rick Owens, like the older lady. I can't think of her name, Michelle or something like that. Anyway, I took a picture with her, right? I put it on my gram, and my man was like, "Yo, you sold your soul." Wow. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "Bro, how? Like, what are you talking about?" So I took a picture with a girl and put it on Instagram. But yeah, she the one that, you know, because they say that she's the one that makes the, you know, whatever. I'm like, bro, No conversation I had with her had involved selling my soul. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything you see is hard work, bro. But people believe that myth, man. Have anybody ever approached you with anything like that?
Selling the soul?
I
don't think. I think the way that people go about hearing that is a little more in the. I don't want to say in the fantasy side of things because it's real.
Yeah, it's definitely real. It's doors you can walk in.
But people think like you could just ask a question like, hey, how do I sell my soul? I'm ready to sell my soul, and it'll happen. Or I'm ready to get a record. It doesn't really work out that way.
Nah.
Not to say that I know much about it, but because I'm in the industry, I have did my research and studied to know where to stay away from and who to stay away from and stuff like that. No shade to nobody, but I fear God.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think it's something that really happens, and some people are like in denial about it.
Yeah.
And like 10% knows it's happening, but they don't want to say nothing. But I think it's more so in a situation where you just possibly get so much leverage and power that they need to control it.
Right.
You know, they need to be able to control it and stuff like that. And however they do that, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that ethical dilemma, right? So it's like, all right, you go through door number one, you know what's going on, you know what you're walking into. Yeah. Some people don't know what they're walking into.
That's true. I would say that.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But then, as a adult who's aware of like adult situations, no matter how that may look, whether it's drugs, whether it's sex, whether it's violence, whatever that is, you know what you coming up
right
against as an adult. Like as a kid, whatever. You don't know. You're innocent. You know what I mean?
But as an adult, you know right from wrong. But as an adult,
you know right from wrong, right? So you get approached with a moral dilemma, I would say. And if you cross that line, gotcha.
I think even like it would happen. Like in my opinion, I'm assuming it would happen in a way that you're not gonna know that they're even doing it until it's possibly too late.
Yeah.
You're gonna be finessed. Yeah. Like you might end up in the party in Hollywood. They invite you to an exclusive party. You're like, oh my God. It's such and such over there and such and such over there, and they offer you a drink,
right? And
there's something in the drink, and then you wake up in the morning, your behind is probably hurting or something, and they got you on video camera or some shit. Like, and now they.
Yeah, see, I don't know about I mean, I heard that.
The Diddy case is happening now, so it's like. But we're able to see that it's actually happening from this Diddy case,
But I think from a Diddy case, you like, all right, number one. I ain't saying he was right, bro. I ain't saying he was right. I'm not advocating for Diddy on no type of level, especially when it comes to the domestic violence portion of it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The domestic violence. But if you go to a Diddy party, right?
You was one of them.
Yeah, you kind of know what you signing up for. It's like a common, like everybody know. It's not like, and it's not all like it's not in front of your face, right? It's like Hugh Hefner, bro. It's like going to a Playboy Mansion party.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You know what you sign up for when you're going to a Playboy Mansion party. It's just he was the
African American version of that. Hefner, exactly. You know and the thing is, because of his skin complexion, and maybe because he wanted to possibly start like a all black political party and other things he wanted to do, and because he probably have lots of footages of a lot of powerful people.
Yeah.
And, he probably wasn't going the routes that they wanted him to go, you know, and he probably started going against the powers to be. They're like, all right, we're going to get you up out of there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like anybody that spoke up to them. One artist mentioned that he wanted to come out with a documentary for Dr. Sebi. All of a sudden, he gets gunned down in front of his own shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Michael Jackson came out, started speaking about certain things. All of a sudden, Whitney, he's, so it's just like, it's not a coincidence.
Yeah, some things, it's definitely not coincidental, man. I think with Nip, it was a hating situation, though. Like, whether it's coming from, like they're saying with the other guy now, I ain't going to mention his name on air, but they're saying it's coming from him. And, but, at the end of the day, like, with the Nip situation was such a moment in my, like, this is one of my favorite rappers, bro. And this is before like,
I cried.
Before even a marathon came out, you know what I'm saying? Before, Victory Lap, all that, man.
Slauson
like when
Boy,
but when I got into him, Bullets Ain't Got No Name, Volume 2.
Oh,
right?
wow.
And so it's like, yeah, bro. So I was like tapped in from that, and I was like, when he had the joint with Lloyd, the singer, and so I was like, all right, he was saying something And my little brother put me hip to him. My little brother, you know what I'm saying, he put me down to let me understand what he got going on. Because I was like, yo, you living a parallel life, just in a different coast that I was living when I was in Philly. Right. And he helped change my mentality. I felt like I grew with him, right? So it's like, as he grown as an artist and as a man, as an individual, I felt like I was growing right along with him. So it's like, maybe because we the same age, we the same, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, whatever, it's just, we tall, we skinny, you know what I'm saying?
This transition was amazing.
Yeah. And just saying that, bro, and it gave me so much motivation that I quit anything I was doing in the streets and I was full-time in school, bro. It's just because it's like, dang, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, somebody that's a part of us is literally showing you the way.
Yeah.
And telling you, like, hey, it's either this or that. Right. Because we know, the streets is only two things. It's jail or graveyard. You know what I mean? But here's the thing, all of us are going to have to go to the grave anyways, but do we want to even involve the risk of getting there quicker? Or spending the rest of our lives in jail?
No, it's an expedited trip to it, though. You know
I also, when we talk about growth, too, another great artist of mine, I would say, or favorite artist of mine is Jay-Z. I love his transition and his growth. Like, my man,
impeccable. For sure. And even though Rock Nation did me dirty.
It was so amazing to...
But, yeah, it's all good.
His growth is so amazing that he tells it in the music.
Right.
And you could visualize his growth throughout every process of it. So it's like, coming from the streets and making that transition and stuff like that, it's just truly amazing. I think, for the younger cast that's coming up, you got to be able to have, someone that you could look up to that made a change from the similar places that you came from.
Right, giving you the blueprint.
Exactly. So it's like if you're someone that, you always went to school and you're trying to build this $1 million company, go watch or read books of somebody that was in that position. Yeah. Study the people that already did it, because they're literally showing you without telling you.
Right.
Yeah.
And they say, whatever you don't want our people to learn, man, put it in the book. You know what I'm saying?
Book. So they don't be finding it.
Yeah, man, because like everything you read, and then everything you read on the internet is not true. Everything you see on these podcasts is like the highlights. They're not giving you all the like inside. There's only so much you can say in a 2-hour segment. You know what I'm saying? There's only so much that could be there. There's only so much that they can show you in a Hollywood movie. But when you actually read the books, the autobiographies, and you could go into the detail. And you could literally read between the lines of what people are saying versus it being a movie and scripted to being super dramatic and you can't really get the gist of what's happening.
Nah, for real. With that being said, what's one of your favorite books?
Bro, Jack Canfield, Success Principles, man. It's the book that changed my life. My pop gave it to me when I graduated school, and I really, honestly, bro, it's like I wasn't on the trajectory that I'm on. So he was like, "Oh, you graduated. That's a highlight. Here's this book." And I was on the way to Miami. I was on a flight to Miami because I was rapping back in the day, right? So I was on a flight to Miami, and I was like, "All right, man, I've got 2 hours, Let me open the book." So I cracked open. I couldn't put it down, bro. I honestly was like, damn. I was like, this how people. Yeah, because it's one of those things, an interactive type of book, right? So it's like, okay, write down 100 successes that you ever had in your life, right? Write down 100. Wow. Write down 100 things that you've done. I don't care how big or small, whether it's graduate. You could have put, I graduated from kindergarten to 12th grade. That's 13 successes right there.
I got my license.
You know what I'm saying? I
learned how to drive.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. And that's what I had to do, because I'm thinking I knew I wasn't a failure because of the position I was in at the time, but I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I never counted, I never looked at how many successes I had. So that was like the very first thing you got to do. No, first is start. The thing was like be honest.
Plus book.
Yeah, it was like be honest with yourself, right? And then I had to look in the mirror. I'm like, damn, I'm really about what I'm saying I'm about and doing what I'm about. I'm not really about that, bro. Like, I don't want to be about that. I come from, my mom raised me well. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, damn, just the environment I'm from, I have to be like that. I have to be a savage.
That's how you got to survive.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to go outside. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's one of my favorite books, bro. My bad. I'll go on a little tangent.
It's all good.
You know
beautiful story.
What about yourself, bro?
I have a few, but I would say one of my favorites that I would say that kind of like, I don't want to say changed my life, but definitely gave me a different perspective. Is by Dr. Joe Vitale, if I'm not mistaken. The Secrets to Attracting Money.
Okay. Yeah.
I believe that's the title. Secrets to Attracting Money. It was just, although the title involves money, but a lot of it had to do with just manifestation.
Mindset. Yeah.
Yeah. Having that because he was someone that was homeless and ended up, becoming a multimillionaire by just shifting his mindset, what I mean? And as you mentioned earlier, they say, if you want to have something from a brother, you put it in a book.
Facts.
It was some it was some knowledge in there. Like, I'm gonna just drop it real fast. Like, one of the things that I learned through there, which I did myself too, was he was pretty much saying, like, don't be afraid to start anything, you know, just do things, whatever it is. You could start anything. Even if you didn't have talent, you wanted to write a book, you don't even have to start from scratch. What you could even do is, if you go, you know, on Google, you search public domain books. Yeah. That means books that copyrights has fallen off. So you could literally take that, and I don't want to say literally just put your name on it. You should probably, like, you know, like,
but technically,
like the book you was reading, maybe put a workshop in there or something like that. Have questions and stuff like that. And you could literally come out with your own book. And, you know, it'll be yours. You could whether do it for free or whatever it is. But I just learned a lot of things in there, in that book, that I already have done in life, but didn't really notice I was doing it. Like, one of the things, like, one of my secrets to having confidence or being everything that I embody today was, there used to be a game that my little sisters and them used to play, was on the computer. It was called Sims.
Oh, yeah, I remember Sims.
Yeah, so on Sims, they'll play it all the time, and there was a part within the game where you take the character to a mirror, and when you have the character speaking in the mirror, the attribute that is building is called charisma. Now, however far along this charisma grows, the more that character is able to do, they're able to get better jobs, get a better car. So I was just like, interesting. So I went and did that in real life. I started talking power into myself in the mirror. I just started telling myself, hey, I'm great. I'm amazing. I'm beautiful. I love you. You're going to be a great man. You're going to be a great father. You're going to be a great leader. You're going to do great things. And I continuously kept doing those things to a point where it was me, because it was me talking to me. And but it wasn't me trying to share something that I wanted to learn. It was really me just reminding myself who I was. Because deep down inside of all of us is someone that's very special and unique. And once you find who you truly are, you know, everything flows accordingly, you know, and it's very, it's very favored with God's grace.
No, facts, bro. That's a whole gem right there, bro. I'm like, that's definitely gonna get cut up, and you know what I mean. But yeah, nah, man. So you know, just going back into like the music side of things, right? What's next for you, bro?
The music side of things. What's next? Well, first of all, I got a show tomorrow night again in Dubai.
But this will probably be out after that.
They ain't gonna see this.
Gotcha.
Well, but the show already happened afterwards, though. But anyways, as far as music goes, I have a project that's dropping. It's an album. It's produced by a good brother of mine. His name is Rick Roman. Shout outs to my brother Ooze. I also have a dope producer on there as well too. His name is Colton Perrine. He's the producer and one of the writers for the record Peru.
Okay.
Yeah.
With Ed Sheeran?
Yup, the one with Ed Sheeran and
Fireboy. That's what's up.
Yup. So I got those two producers on the project. Colton did one dope record with me and my brother Ooze. It's called For You. But the name of my new album coming out is called New Levels, New Devils.
New Levels, New Devils.
Coming out May 30th.
May 30th, man. Make
10
sure
days.
y'all stream that. Stop playing, man. Make sure y'all stream that.
New Levels, New Devils.
Yeah. And what inspired that name?
What the Gatekeepers.
There you go.
The Gatekeepers. I would say trying to do music, you know, or just being in the industry, whether you're not doing music and you're just dealing with the music industry, period. As we all know, there's a lot of gatekeeping. You know, people don't want to help you. They don't want to, unless they're really just getting money from you directly. You know, they won't even tell you anything. They won't even tell you, like, hey, if you just go through that door, you could talk to somebody. They won't even tell you that. You know what I mean? So, and I realized the more you do, even as far as independently, the more like you have repercussions you have. I don't want to say repercussions. That's a bad way of putting it. This is what I would say. The more higher you're trying to get in life, right? It's like the industry, I would call it like gravity. It's trying to bring you down. Like physically, if you was to jump, you're gonna go down. And so it's just like no matter what, you're being forced down and pushed down. But you gotta just find a way to break through and shatter those glass ceilings. But that comes with a territory that you're gonna deal with people that they might want to see you do good, but they don't want to see you do better than them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they don't want to share certain knowledge, or even if you do a song with them, I didn't pay features, guys thousands of dollars they won't even post.
Man.
You know what I mean? They won't even post the record and stuff like that, and things like that. So it's just like, that's just crazy to me. Yeah. So and being in that situation, and noticing like how the more you try to do it, the better you better yourself, you're gonna have more haters and stuff like that. That just inspired that title for me. It's like New Levels, New Devils. Like we in a
that's big, bro. You thought about that one. You know what I'm saying? That's dope, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
That's honestly like it's an amazing way, amazing concept to kind of put that in the music. You know what I'm saying? Because people they not aware of that. You know, a lot of people aren't aware of that, I should say. You know what I mean? So, look, just in the shared interest of time, bro, this has been a pleasure, bro.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Like, I love this, bro. Like, honestly, we're going to have to do it again, too.
We do this even off the camera, man.
Yeah.
We vibing.
But before you leave, bro, I need some information from you, yo. Top 5 musicians of all time. Mm-hmm. Who are they?
Top 5 musicians of all time.
Any genre, dead or alive.
Okay. Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. Bob Marley, mm-hmm. Eminem, mm-hmm. Tupac, mm-hmm. Nipsey Hussle.
Boom, boom. And then any parting advice, bro? Any advice that you'll give anybody who's watching this, if they're up-and-coming artists, if they're established artists, if they budding music manager, whatever, any advice that you'll give?
I would say, most importantly, you just got to truly believe in yourself, but the real of that to actually like keeping it going there, or as people would say, make it, is just never really quitting. Like never, like, and when I say that, it sounds very simple, or it just sounds like, yeah, I hear that all the time, but that is the truth. It's like when you think about, if you pull your phone out and you need to get to a destination and you put in your GPS, right? Because people look at success like it's supposed to be a straight line, but that's not really the truth. The truth is, it's going to be a lot of
peaks and valleys.
Right.
Peaks and valleys.
But when you set your mind to your destination mentally, you have to know the end goal.
Like a GPS.
Yes. Because if you don't know where you want to go, how you think everything's going to work? It doesn't matter if you're doing music, you're doing acting. You still need to know specifically within music, where exactly do I want to go? Right. Do I want to be this big pop artist? Do I want to make $1 million and just quit? Right. Whatever that is, you need to know specifically. Even if it's the money, you need to know the specific amount to the cent. Yeah. Because you can't tell your GPS, hey, I just want to go somewhere.
Yeah, take me somewhere. So,
but when you put that specific address, destination in the GPS, it doesn't matter if you took a wrong turn. What the GPS going to do?
Correct itself.
It's going to reroute you. Yeah. Instead of 20 minutes, it might take you now an hour because you took a wrong turn. Right. But as long as you don't give up on that road, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get there. Yep. So the secret is to never give up.
No, facts, bro. Man, I appreciate you so much, man. You know what I mean? It's great to have you, man. I know we've been tapped in for a while, but you made it here in Dubai. You doing big things, man. I appreciate you taking the time out to do this podcast with me, bro.
Appreciate you.
My name Berto. This is AudioSwim Podcast. Make sure you record your next podcast at Wave Sound Studios. My name Berto, and I'm out.
Before the deal.